It's a busy time here at Proper Royals, but as always, it's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. So that means it's time for Proper Royals Live. I got Bill and Kate Pever on tonight from Heart of the Python. We're talking entrepreneurship and the Monarch gene. Let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here tonight. I'm like amped up. I've been sitting in the studio more than you would realize for the past couple weeks, but recently. Anyway, some more of that stuff to come later. But I'm happy to have you all tonight. It continues another Tuesday night, another great guest. We have Heart of the Python on tonight. I'll introduce you to them very shortly. A lot going on. I feel like just came out of summer. I felt like I wouldn't say I took a summer vacation, but it just kind of backed off a little bit in the summer, but that stuff is all over. This Saturday is the next round of Epic. I got to figure out what we call it. Do we call it a season? Do we call it a conference? It's not an episode. Epic, for those of y'all that don't know, is the exotic pet industry conference. It is remote. It's online. It is free. You don't have to register this year. You just have to go to epic.live, which you will see right there. Check this out. Everything is on here. First, we got the keynote speakers. Emily Roberts from Snake Discovery will be doing the keynote event. That's this Saturday, by the way, September 27th. That starts at 1 o'clock on the East Coast. And, you can do the math from there, 9 o'clock Pacific. It's going to run about, 4 or 5 hours. Look here. Look here. I think I turned into an old man all of a sudden. Look here. If you look at this, you'll see that there's 4 different tracks: business track, keeping track, breeding track, and outreach track. And then within those tracks, there's the opening session. But then look at all of these different sessions in here that you can choose to go to. So epic.live is your home-based navigation for the Epic conference. And that will finish up with the final keynote session at scheduled for 5:15 Eastern. So, and that's an hour session. So about a 5-hour conference that day. We want to have you there for the rollouts. There will be chat on all the episodes this time, so you can converse with other people in the audience watching. You could give your input on the presentations, all that kind of thing. It becomes a little bit more interactive. Afterwards, the sessions will always be available on epic.live. And there is a new YouTube channel as well that will always have these episodes available. And then if you're like, well, what are all of these episodes? There's a whole bunch of words on the screen there, Adam. Check this out. You got people like Bob Bledsoe participating, Josh's Frogs, the Wild Type Podcast, Fear to Fascination, Stephen Conduit. We've got Gecko representation. Chris Eaton is back to help kick this thing off again. Grant Crossman from North of the Border, Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo. Speaking of our Canadian friends, Crystal Crabtree is there. We got Phil Goss from US Arc, Brian Gundy. Craig has been slaving behind the scenes, just killing it. The Harbins are back. You might have seen some build-offs with Cam's Reptiles. We added, this is a really cool thing. We added a youth session as well. And people like Tyler were going to be on that, Clayton Kaufman. Let me see. I believe Marlena is her name, from Ghost Constrictors, as you could see, Emily Roberts, Billy Rice. Look at the names. Adam Wickens will be there. And, of course, Josh Willard from Josh's Frogs. Many more that I didn't get to name. I'm not going to read you 40 names or so. But all of these folks will be presenting and participating in the Epic Conference this Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern time to kick off. I hope to see you there. We've put a lot of work into it and very proud of it. The whole theme and the whole purpose is to grow and advance the hobby and give you the tools and the knowledge to do so across a variety of species. So hope to see you there. It's something that we've all been the Epic team, Craig, Nikki from Irresistible Pythons as well, have been just working a lot behind the scenes for the past couple months. So I'm really excited for that. Thanks for checking it out. Oh, speaking of Canadians we like, what's going on, Billy? Thank you for being here. Purple Squirrel, I got to learn the story of your name at some point. One of my favorite breweries in North Carolina is called the Blind Squirrel. Yeah, even the Blind Squirrel finds a nut. Blind Squirrel Brewery. Anyhow, look at all the Canadians everywhere. Gerald, Sammy's not Canadian, but he felt Canadian for a little bit. I'll tell you that much. And Chris, how you doing, man? It's good to see you guys. So Epic is this Saturday. Sunday, I'll be vending in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. If you're like, man, what is that I'm doing? Sioux Falls is a cool town. I was there in April, and they did the expo right. It's in this arena that, had I known, actually, I need to see what's going on in the arena the night before. Last time I was there, the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders Tour or whatever was there. I don't know anything about rodeos or bull riding, but it would, like, that's pretty Midwest Americana, right? I would have checked that out. It's a serious venue, and they added a second show this year because of popular demand. That first show was great. I'm excited to be going back. And it was a really nice town, good restaurants, nice hotel. Okay, twist my arm. I'm going to go vend in Sioux Falls. I'll see you there on Sunday. I hope that you are there. If you're in the area, it's definitely worth coming to check out. Speaking of things you should check out, properroyals.com is up to date with inventory right now. I still have 8 or 9 clutches in the incubator, and then another 6 or 7 in those racks behind me. You could see the racks like dwindle a little bit each week, but you see that empty one. That one's heading off to the new facility tomorrow. But those other racks are still breeding females that potentially could go. But it has been updated. And then obviously I'll have the inventory out in Sioux Falls with me this week. I hope to see you on Instagram. And if you haven't heard before, there's a Proper Royals Patreon. The whole idea of that Patreon is the idea of a community working and building and sharing knowledge together. I share what I can. I don't think I'm any kind of guru. I am pretty good. Speaking of incubators, I'm pretty good at sort of incubating business and putting the right people in touch with each other and a place where people can share knowledge. And I think there's something like 40 people or something. I mean, it's really kind of grown. It's pretty cool. Love to see you there. But if you're interested in any of the upcoming clutches, Patreon gets first dibs, and your store credit transfers dollar for dollar. I eat the fees. So just come hang out if you like. Patreon.com/properroyals. And then we are less than a month away from Tinley. So if you missed the chance for your custom Proper Royals jersey, I will have limited edition Proper Royals jerseys there at Tinley. I've got them in sizes. Now, these are unisex sizes, but sizes from extra small all the way to 2X. I ordered every size that I could, and I've got a couple in each size. They're all uniquely numbered. They do say Proper Royals on the back, but then there's an individual number for each one. And I don't know if I ever do them again, I'm going to pick a different style. So this is the only time that this style will ever be done. Hope if you would like some of those, come by the booth. I will also have dishwasher safe deli cups for the water dishes for your tubs. I'll have the 8 ounce and the 16 ounces. So the cups that'll fit the 10s, the 50s, the 55s, and the 70s, plus whatever the equivalent of Freedom Breeder is. I'm not choosing one or the other. I just can't memorize all the different numbers. They are reusable. You can hand wash them, dishwash them. They're restaurant grade. One of the few things that I can bring from the restaurant industry. And then last but not least, I have 8 unused ARS 55 series tubs. They've never been used. They're brand new, perfect condition. I'll have those at Tinley. If you are interested in them, I don't know, let's say 60% of retail list. I don't even know what that is, but you won't have to pay sales tax. I'll handle that, and you won't have to pay shipping, but you just got to pick them up in Tinley, or if you want to pick them up local, come do that. And then I think I'm looking at the stack over there. I think I've got about 20 of the 10 series tubs. So that rack that used to be behind me, that was a 1075 for like a hatchling / grow out and small males rack. I've got 20 of those tubs. They are used. They're in fine condition. They'll be perfectly clean. The only thing that'll be on them is I use a little bit of that blue teacher's sticky tacky stuff to hang the labels so you can make the labels interchangeable. That stuff's impossible to get off. It's on the outside of the tub, but they'll have that on it. But otherwise, those are brand new. If you're interested, get in touch with me or come by the booth at Tinley. Okay, enough of the the announcements, huh? Heart of the Python. I got to meet them briefly at Tinley, and I have to admit, Tinley is kind of an overwhelming, just there's so much going on at Tinley. And Kate was very, very kind. She was like, well, it was quick and I got drug away. I hope that doesn't mean that that we hung out for an hour and I don't recall. I don't think that's the case, but I got to meet them at Tinley briefly. I've seen them in various Patreon chats around, the Instagram private chat world. And then Stephen from Leviathan made a sort of a impromptu introduction one day and said, Adam, I think you would really get along with them. Family of entrepreneurs. There's a little bit of a restaurant background there, and they're into ball pythons. Hey, you know what? That checks more boxes than some of the guests. I mean, not in a loving way. Everybody's interesting to me, but maybe Heart of the Python will be a little bit more. So it's been fun to chat with Kate behind the scenes. I got to meet Bill really quickly in the green room as well. So let's bring them on and get this show started. Please welcome for the very first time to the Proper Royals stage, Bill and Kate Pever. Heart of the Python. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're already exhausted. Why are you exhausted?
Running your own business is exhausting.
I was talking about the baby kitten, but
well,
okay.
Yeah, I know the kitten's exhausting too. You may hear something in the background. It's fine.
You guys flipped a switch. You're just like, boom, you're on. It's great. That's people say that. That's what I do too.
Why not?
Well, we got a show to do, right? Why not, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I surprised her with it. I went to the Repticon down in Baltimore over the weekend.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it was interesting. And there was a gentleman there selling baby kittens, Maine Coons. And we had just been talking 2 weeks ago. We've been talking about she's deadly allergic to these cats, but she grooms 2 of them and she loves them. And so she was like, I really want one, maybe they've got this new food, maybe we'll try the new food. And I said, but
I was like, I have to do more research because I'm a research buff.
But my daughter and her friend dragged me over to this booth that was on the total other side of the building, and plopped the kitten in my hands. I don't know if you see the cute little Maine Coon kitten, but they are irresistible. And I was on the phone with her. I said, there's this kitten.
It just appeared.
Where's this kitten? Is it handy? I mean, at this point, we got to get the payoff here, right?
Yeah. She's right here. She's wandering around. She almost got the D&D booth, but
okay. So she is cute. Now, I will tell you, if my wife surprised me with a kitten, one of us would be probably leaving the house. I'm not sure if it'd be me, my wife, or the cat, but I could tell you. But from a distance, it looks very cute. Now, did you come up with a witty name for this cat?
Oh, it's had 3 so far.
Yeah, not yet.
No. Galaxy.
Oh, the girls name all of the snakes. So they also they just decided they were going to name this one Galaxy Annihilator.
Yeah, Galaxy Annihilator.
We didn't like that. No. I like Captain. He likes Thunder. We're gonna. As soon as it stops making me sneeze, I'll name it.
It's my office cat. I spent a lot of time in here, and it's going to live here as the office cat. Because we have a kind of a hyperallergenic one at home.
Okay. Now, I feel like, I'm not trying to tell you, but maybe a little food for thought here. Wouldn't it be witty to name it something Maine related? You could name it Saco. You could name it Kennebunkport. You could do, I don't know if Old Orchard Beach works or not, but a Rustic. Oh, the big county up top, way up there,
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. That hit well. I could tell that's going to go places.
I'm still getting used to the idea that it's here.
It's not, I know Lewiston is no Galaxy Annihilator, but maybe you could
have to convince the 14-year-olds. So
yeah.
That's a hard sell.
Yeah, that was it. It was quite the trip too. We got rear-ended on the way down there. Way it was a trip getting down to Baltimore.
All right, last one. Lobster.
That's
All
it.
right. Okay, all right.
Lobster.
It's got to be with the AH on the end. Now
you gotta say it with the accent.
that's right, and like loudly, lobster. Where are you guys from? If Baltimore is down from you, where's home for you?
We're in the Boston area, right outside Salem.
Oh, cool. Okay, very nice. How often do you have to commute into the city at all, or not? Do you stay on the outskirts?
No,
whenever we don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. It's so smart. I mean, I had a great time in Boston, but you don't want to drive in Boston.
Yeah,
it's very easy to get to. Getting outside of Massachusetts, any other place is hard.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so geography gets weird. There's a ton of little cities and big cities, not little, big cities in a little space. How long does it take you to get from Boston to Baltimore? That's quite a drive still.
That was nothing. That was 8 hours.
Yeah. Okay. That's solid. I mean, that's not nothing.
Oh, we did
Siri.
We did Siri. Yeah, we were down southeast. And then we did Schaumburg, and we're doing St. Louis. So I mean, anything within that 18-hour circle, because there aren't any conventions besides Manchester near us.
Yeah.
That's so weird for such a concentrated population. There's not. I mean, and that's what I hear in the Northeast. I mean, there's some of the Pennsylvania circuit, and then there's White Plains. But you just don't hear of many in that. Why? What's going on?
I don't know.
I mean, no.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to try and organize a show up here, we'd be happy to go.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like a desert for it. I don't quite understand why.
I mean, even Poughkeepsie dried up. They're no longer doing Poughkeepsie. So in New York,
and I don't think that there are. I feel like I would have heard about it, but there's not like regulations like outlawing reptiles or running you guys over or anything, threatening or anything like that, right?
Nope.
No.
I mean, the CRBE is closer to you than any of the places that you've named to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like our local shows, we've done really, really well there. The 2 times that we've been able to go do a local show, they're really popular and they're hard to get into.
Yeah.
So, it's obviously that they're doing well. But I don't know.
Now, these that you're traveling to, are you vending those? Did you vend in Baltimore or you attend that?
We've vended.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that's a huge undertaking. You're vending. You got to get the. You got to get the animals down the road. I mean, I do a lot of shows, and Tinley is about as far as I travel, which is 6 hours door to door. I mean, that's it for me with animals. So, how was the show in Baltimore? How's the scene?
It was it's one of those shows that's very much a petting zoo.
Yeah.
I like Bodacious Balls' sign that they had up that said, we're not due to transfer of mites, transfer of viruses, we're not letting people touch them unless you're interested in that particular animal.
Yeah.
But they had to have those signs up.
And generally, like, we don't, if a family's interested in touching an animal, we don't mind that. It's part of building a connection with an animal. But it wasn't a show where people were really seemed to be buying, except for the kittens.
Oh yeah, 15 kittens went.
So it's not. So the thing that kind of got me about that show is what? I mean, kittens are cute. I love kittens. But what is it about ball pythons or reptiles that is just not, that we're not showing off? I mean, I love the animals. They're great. We spend, you can hang out with them, watch TV. They're, a pet, just like a cat, but they don't make me sneeze.
Right.
People were there. They were spending money. They weren't spending money on snakes. We sold a bioactive container and a house snake, and that was for someone who literally came in there looking for a house snake, and we were the only people that had them.
Wow. Was it like most shows in the past few years? I'm starting to see a little bit of a shift, but I mean, was the room just primarily ball pythons still, or has it started to diversify?
No, I didn't tell you that we came back with 4 corn snakes, but we have.
Ta-da!
There were some corn
full of
snakes.
surprises.
It was quite a. It was a cornucopia of different species. I would say that the ball pythons were way underpriced for what they were even selling.
Used to.
Yeah, even from Schaumburg, where the sales weren't great, but
we still sold some.
But
there.
the prices were within the ballpark.
Yeah.
But $5 clowns, and they didn't go out the door. No one was buying them. Even at $5, and it was that undervaluing, I think, that is a problem.
I'm starting to see, or I'm starting to wonder if I'm seeing like pockets or regions of economics, and it's kind of come up lately. This is just off the cuff. This is just me thinking out loud, but audience might have some input as well. A few things that I've seen lately. So like what really opened my eyes was when I was over in Toronto, certain genes that we don't see very much of in the United States, but that there were like intense pockets of breeders working that product. Let's say Scrambler, for example. Great gene. I don't think it was undervalued in Toronto. However, compared to what I would expect to pay in the United States for some really nice examples, I'm talking, Orange Dream Fire, Calico options in there. They were a steal. They were an incredible value there in Toronto. Maybe that had something to do with the American dollar, but I think that they were just generally cheaper there because of sort of the regional economics. But for example, again, no major metropolis, but if I'm going to Sioux Falls this weekend, and even at the recent local shows, I've seen the ball python sort of peter out and actually some of the prices coming up. And like, I realize that there's not a region to an internet show. So, it's everywhere. So I don't want to like announce that that's the finding, but then I hear things like $5 clowns. That's puts us pause to me. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's why there's not reptile shows. Maybe there's our answer right there, especially if they're not moving. And I had a tough conversation with a breeder that I trust and that I've worked with for a long time. And he says, I've got, I guess I won't say the exact numbers, but for a lot more than $5, he says, I've got a bunch of clowns. Maybe they're worth it to you. And I said, I can't get that for them at retail, much less wholesale. It doesn't make sense. I'm not the guy for it. Somebody will maybe, but I'm not the guy for it. So there's just these perceptions and pockets of pricing is what I think I'm finding, which is weird because we all use Morph Market. We all kind of use that as like the pricing stand. That's like our Dow Jones Industrial Average, Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry to hear that was the case at that show. Do you see differently in your area? Are you finding like other regional outlets where you sell locally, or do you sell primarily nationally through Morph Market? How do you guys sell?
I would say, for us, Atlanta was really good when we vented Atlanta.
Okay, good.
That was a strong market in there.
For Siri.
Schaumburg was just a tough show in general. I would say we did okay. We moved product.
Yeah.
But,
I hate calling them product.
Sorry, I know. Well, I meant we sold $1,000 in shirts.
That's true. That we did do that.
Get out of here. How'd you pull that out? Talk to me about that. Seriously.
That is what was selling there. Low cost items. And that was what was flying out the door. The little spider houses and stuff that they have, and the 3D model stuff, the 3D stuff that they sold out. So anything that was under a certain price point, people were buying because that's what they did. So we were selling, 2 or 3 shirts a family, and that's what was. People looked at our snakes and then bought our shirts.
Yeah,
that's what we sold at Schaumburg. I think we sold like 4 ball pythons there, and the rest were all shirts.
It's an interesting model because like I've had to like let go and give up a little bit of what's the word, capitulate. Like I never wanted to sell merch and stuff and dry goods and trinkets and all that. And it all works together. That's $1,000 worth of people walking around in your shirts, advertising for you and making your brand more well-known and paying some gas money. And even if you sold 1,000 at cost, that's really pretty good advertising because it's a human being that somebody can go, what is that? And they go, oh, it's a cool ball python. But, that gets put to work really well. And I've kind of softened my stance on that. So that's interesting to hear. Now, Schaumburg's notoriously tough. It's in the middle of the summer. Families traveling. Summer's a notorious retail difficult time. I don't know. I've seen like pockets of like real optimism and then pockets of like $5 clowns not moving. And sorry, I don't want to like, I'm not trying to, I think Repticon gets a bad rap. Repticon was a big part of how I started my business in Florida. So I have a special place for them. But with that being said, how was the venue? Somebody used the analogy of if you walk into a double wide trailer of a car dealer, you might expect a certain type of product at that dealership. If you walk into a well-lit marble floor showroom, you might expect a different kind of product there. And that kind of trains you to, should you go in, if you go in, what you're prepared for. Do you see some of that analogy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was a fairground. It was a fairground building that we were in. So I absolutely see that playing out there completely, especially with, it was sort of like what you were going to do on Saturday and Sunday. There's nothing else to do. Let's go to this. A lot of walking around, and a couple of people who were there specifically because they wanted to buy a snake, and we engage people a lot. I mean, as a team, we'd love to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have one of my lines to bring people in is, hey, do you have any reptiles at home?
Right.
What do you got? Do you got pictures? Bring out the phone.
Yeah.
What I told Kate when we were down there, I said, I couldn't get anybody. Nobody would talk to me about it. And at Tinley, or not Tinley, but at Schaumburg, at any of the other conventions, we're there talking to people, like having great conversations, talking about animals, talking about everything. When I was down in Richmond, down in Virginia, I was the only one there, and I couldn't leave my booth. Because I was talking to people about their passion. And that was what was missing. Nobody was there with a passion.
Yeah.
They were there to look at the zoo. That's what was going on.
It's a hard balance because in the one way, I don't think the promoters legitimately can control. Obviously, they can't control who comes through the door. How much they can affect it in a given market, I do wonder about. And I'm no show promoter, and nor do I want to be. But I do look at that, like when people choose where they put their venue, where the venue is, both like on a micro level, is it a nice venue? And on a macro level, is it in an area, neighborhood, metropolis that can sustain a show of whatever given size. And I haven't quite quantified it, but I do look at it a lot because last year I was able to look at, I did a ton of shows in the Midwest. I did every show I could in the Midwest last year. And I tried to quantify where I sold and where I didn't, and then relate it to some of those local metrics. And I ended up cutting out a lot of Western Wisconsin shows. It didn't sell well. There wasn't a luxury income and, those sorts of things. And I hate to say that because it sounds snobbish and all of that, but at some point I got to keep the lights on and make some decisions because I can't do 28 shows again, or I'm not going to anyhow. It didn't make sense to do that many shows. So I probably overthink it, but I always kind of think about that stuff and try and piece it together. And I don't know, maybe the audience has some experience too of what they look at what shows that they vend. How's your general feel of, like, you named Schaumburg, Tinley, Siri, those are all kind of national caliber scale shows. How do you generally do do you do any smaller regional shows versus the national ones? And sort of how do you see those two pros, cons, good, bad difference?
That's an interesting question. We actually, one of our best shows was a regional show in Massachusetts. I think the only one. It was our first show. We just signed up to cut our teeth. It was, shake out the nerves, get it all out there. And we brought some of our what I would say, our table items, and then we also brought some snakes that we did not plan on selling. Specifically, a beautiful, kind little pied boy who was het Sunset. And so we priced him at $1,000. And it was not our intention to sell him. We did not believe anyone would be willing to pay $1,000 for a pied, especially someone who's not looking to breed it.
Right.
And this amazing couple came up, and she wanted to introduce her husband to snakes. He was terrified of them. Yeah. And I knew that this boy is a sweetie. Like, he's just an amazing little guy. And I took him out and I gave him over to, his name was Buddy, over to her. And, he did his usual thing. And then she tried to hand it to him, and Buddy just froze. And I said to him, okay, stop. Okay, give me the snake. Now, you need to approach the snake with confidence. All right. Trust me, it's a whole world of difference. He goes, okay. And then the snake curled up and he fell in love with the snake. And I said, listen, you don't want to buy the first animal that you become attached to. Go look around. Go talk to other people. Go find the snake that you want to bring home. And they ended up coming back. And I said, I can't make you a deal on the snake. I said, I just can't. And they said, we don't want you to. And they paid $1,000 for the snake. That was a kind of a page turner for us in how we're marketing animals at the pet level to people. And how we go about this, because they were looking for a pet that was going to be with them for 2 decades.
Right.
They saw it as an investment in that animal for the next 2 decades. Someone that would be at their wedding with them. And they fell in love with them. And these are the people that we've been connecting with that text us, and they text us pictures of their new homes.
Right. Yeah.
So they want to share what's happening, videos of what's happening with these animals.
I think my favorite was the Shredder Lesser Boy, and the kids fell in love with this boy at the minute that they got him. He's a breeder adult male boffin. He's a Shredder Lesser het Xanthic het lab. We are not an Xanthic. Other than the fact that he was an amazing personality, he wasn't really going to fit our projects.
Right.
So we had, the kids fell in love with this snake, and mom's like, I don't know. And we get mom to hold it, and I was like, if you're not certain, this snake is going to be with you for years. Like, this is not
right.
Not a fly by night. It'll be a couple years. Not a hamster. And she's like, okay. And she holds it, and they go around to, check out everybody else. And the kids just keep trying to bring her back. And they get the snake. And I think a couple weeks later, one of the kids, I guess, snapped a candid of mom doing dishes with the snake around her neck.
Oh, nice.
She has fallen in love with this snake. And I think that's the kind of the thing that I think might be missing a little bit in our industry a little bit is, a clown snake is $5 at that show. But is that clown? Is that individual?
Not a product. Is Samantha the clown?
Yeah.
And selling Samantha rather than selling this clown.
Right.
At the pet level.
Yeah.
As breeders, we tend to shy away from talking about personality,
or temperament,
or temperament. And what we're finding is, people are willing to spend $3,000-$4,000 on a doodle.
More than that.
If they're looking for the right reptile,
a doodle dog,
right,
they'd be willing to spend that as well. And that's what we're finding. We're selling the personality of the animal itself.
I think. Then this analogy just came to mind, but I think that Reptile keepers, I was going to say reptile people, those people, reptile people that maybe aren't in the world of other pets. I think we forget that sort of companionship. What's the word when we attach like human personalities or behaviors to an animal? What's that?
Anthropomorphism.
Yeah, anthropomorphism. And we're like, we think that we're above that, or we mock people. Oh, that's not real. It's what people enjoy. It's what gives the that connection to people, or from people to their animals. And of course, there's shows that are sort of the B2B model, the business to business or breeder to breeder model. But then there's the business of us, the B, to the C, the consumer or the customer. And those are a lot more of those pet-based things where, yeah, I've had those experiences where I've told people, I've said like, well, that's a female and you're paying for some hets. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, I know, look, here's a normal that's a male, and it looks about the same, and it's way cheaper for, like, this makes more sense for you. And they're like, no, this is the one. What? Okay, you're going to get you're buying a double het female kind of deal. And even, I mean, it's, I don't know, maybe $100, $150 difference, whatever. But it's interesting to see when that happens and when that hits. And there's a few customers that I have that actually you talk about temperament and personality. I kind of know they like oddities. They like the all white snake with the red eyes. They like something that hasn't been seen before, and I can call them and say, no expectations. You're going to love this snake, whether you buy it or not. I'm at least going to share it with you, but look at this thing. And sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, set it aside. I'll take it. There's not a discussion. It's a whole different calculation when it's actually a pet and an animal that they are just enthralled with, and attach some of those things that as reptile keepers, we often, like I say, I don't want to say shame people for, anyway, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good point.
I mean, I think that's the whole basis of like our heartline. So, the B2B, we have the Monarchs, we have Puzzle Rainbow, and we're really excited and passionate about those projects. But I also think we're just as passionate about like our heartline animals, which is like animals that we have bred together. Like the boy that we sold, which I regret daily selling him. He had 2 clutches that came after we sold him, and his baby, the temperament difference between his babies. No, we paired him to females that are easy to handle, kind of laid back, and just generally like, oh, okay, we're doing this, kind of personalities. And the difference between the temperaments of those babies
and your monarchs
and my het monarchs is pretty drastic. And I wouldn't call the pairings for my monarchs anything again as particularly like, they're not particularly aggressive or ill-mannered snakes. They're pretty gentle too, because ball pythons just tend to be. But picking these animals out based on their temperament and putting them together, because that's part of why we did it.
They weren't afraid. That the baby snap where they start to have a rattle their tail, and then they snap at you. The babies that came from these animals that we bred that are just calm came out and started to just climb up and around, and were completely bomb-proof, happy. Not happy, but they crawled up your arm.
They're not deep breathing. They're not panicking when you just right out of the egg. They're just like, hey, here's the world. And I think we all have snakes like that in our collection, where like you open the tub and they're like, and they're not like, hey, where's the food? They're like, hey, what's going on out here? And that like curiosity almost, which would absolutely get a ball python killed in the wild.
Right.
Which is, probably a more rare trait even than say, rainbow. I think it's more a rare trait to have a ball python that's like, hey, comes out of the tub and would rather just check out what's going on before looking at what's going to eat. Now, some people say, well, are you, breeding them? Are they bad eaters? No, they're not.
So I have to say, I'm not discounting your experience whatsoever. And I like that, whether I agree or disagree, I like that you're focusing on it. I would argue, I don't know that I would I'm not convinced that that's genetic. Although I guess if I feel that some genes are jerks, which I do sometimes feel, I guess I could believe in the opposite. So fair point.
Hey.
Yeah, point. I'll give you that point there. But I also do. I tell people, I believe that they can be conditioned, and consistent behavior as a new owner and as a handler getting ready to take snakes to a pet buyer. Consistent handling, consistent behavior of when you feed them, when you don't, when's their time, when's like handling time. I tell people the more consistent you can be about that, the better off you and your animal are going to get along, because they're going to be conditioned. And then, and again, I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I don't think it will with you all, but with anybody, suddenly the got to put it in a different box to feed it stuff goes away. That's conditioning. If that's the only time you interact with them and you shove it in their face with your hand, that maybe they think that your hand is food. If you behave differently, it's going to respond differently. And fairly quickly, I generally find, because I find that if I bring in a snake as a breeder or whatever, or even as one to buy as an investment for the future, once I get it on my routine and it has learned my routine, I'm talking a matter of weeks. It's calmed down and ready to go. So I do believe in I guess I would say nurture versus nature on that one. But like I say, if I believe that there's aggressive genes, I must believe that there's nice genes then, right? Like that's one and the same.
I mean, it's been proven that temperament is genetic.
Okay.
And, there is a genetic component to temperament. Now, obviously, nature and nurture both go into it, which is also part of our heartline. So our heartline animals are fed frozen thawed. Pretty much we usually do the first feeding live, and then after that, it's frozen thawed. That's it. They're kept in clear containers rather than like the dark ones. Mm-hmm. So they have a natural daylight cycle, what they might have more closely related to like a terrarium.
Right.
And they are handled by our kids more frequently than somebody that I know, that an animal that's going to be adjusted to more of a tub setting, like my het monarchs, or but we've got banana het hides, and they're treated like they're going to be pets, and setting them up for success that way as well. So not just making the pairings based on temperament, but also making sure that we're setting these animals up for success in a pet home.
Yeah, and that's that conditioning as well. When you, I'm sorry, I know I'm getting stuck on something. When you said it's been temperament's been proven had to have a genetic component, where is that from, or what's the? I'm genuinely curious.
No. Do you know anything about Labrador Retrievers?
Other than them being dogs, no, not particularly.
Okay. He's got a what is it? Jack Russell?
But it's
and two other rescues as well, but Jack Russell,
Black labs tend to be laid back. Mm-hmm. Yellow labs tend to be a little hyper, and chocolate labs are nuts.
Can be, yeah.
Well, and to be honest, that falls into the sort of there's aggressive morphs. Like I don't know much about yellow or black labs, but I tell you, I see a chocolate one. I don't even go like at the dog park. Like I'm picking up Lucy, and you're coming with me.
Yeah. Well, the thing about chocolate, and part of the reason why it may be associated with more hyperactivity, is that it is a recessive.
Okay.
Whereas the black coat is more dominant and more, so it's not a recessive. So that's another thing that could be correlated. It could not be. I'm not that far into the genetics of dogs. But your Jack Russell, for instance, there are certain things that your Jack Russell probably just knew to do as a terrier.
Right.
And that's centuries of breeding. Correct. We haven't been breeding ball pythons that long, but even in, they've done stuff with mice, dogs, cats. There's a certain genetic component to temperament. Less so in reptiles, but we all know that the reptiles are less studied as well. And we're working on that. Like we have a clutch coming that's in the incubator right now that I decided to do a little bit of an experiment. The female came from a classroom setting. It was from a teacher who bred ball pythons to help teach their high school students about genetics, which I thought was really cool. She's got a great temperament. She's really handleable. She's curious, and she's,
Only snake that I've been able to just lift off eggs and just she's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we paired her with a rainbow hypo male, who isn't a bad personality, but he's definitely more your typical, ball python that just likes to, he's like hang out in his tub and eat and sleep and be a ball python. And so we paired them together, thinking, okay, well, how much of this is genetic? Do we get a half and half? Do we get, do they all come out like your average everyday ball python?
And they're all coming out het rainbow.
And het hypo. And she's a black head yellow belly, so it's not like it's a bad pairing or like that way either. So just trying to experiment a little bit with that as well. Is like, okay, do we need both parents to have that same kind of temperament to kind of breed that consistently? Do I need is it more important that mom's like that? Is it more important that dad's like that? Is it more important that there's just one parent? So those are things we're still exploring. Yeah. And again, we do often do the nurture part as well to try and set these animals up for success as pets. And we find that I've had people. So at Siri, we sold Spiderweb. Mm-hmm. He was a hidden gene Woma yellow belly. So to the average person, a normal. He sold for about $350 because he was on frozen thawed. He was extremely outgoing. He'd been handled since day one. He literally hatched in our kitchen. We had a kitchen.
They were our first clutches.
They were one of our first clutches.
Yeah.
And these three little girls fell in love with him. This one,
right. Yeah.
That animal. And a lot of breeders might, have, and we were asked, like, why is he so expensive? And we told him, I was like, he's been handled since day one. He's on frozen thawed. He's been exposed to, more terrarium-like environment. We put effort into him. He's had work. We've worked with him. And it was obvious to them that had been done, and they were willing to pay that price for that animal.
That's a smart angle and a good service. Smart business angles not only can be a good service, they should be a good service. That's a smart angle from the business standpoint. Also, thank you for humoring me on the genetic and temperament part. Well framed argument. I'm less skeptical, and I mean that just sincerely. I think it's a very well framed argument. And
we're not discounting the fact that they're reptilian brains versus mammal brains either.
No.
Well, and again, I think everybody's experience is their own. I've had a lot of good experience with the sort of the nurture part of it, but I can't deny, if you think about the centuries of dog breeding, if in fact, which I do believe, that they all come from wolves, well, we've made some pretty selective temperament choices along the way. So like I say, really well framed argument. Nice discussion. I enjoyed that. Let's talk, you know what, hang on, because I built in a little stopping point there. I want to leapfrog from a good business angle, good service, to some of your own other business entrepreneurial experience, and how you loop all that back into ball pythons. Anybody that's been watching now for discount my first 10 minutes of announcements, the last 40 minutes, I think could see that you guys are pretty serious about what you're doing, and even some of the genes you've talked about are it takes a little concern and no wherewithal to get into those genes. So I'm excited to hear this next part, like I say, where we kind of tie together the entrepreneurial and the ball python. So audience, stick around for 1 second. I got to give a little bit of thanks, pay some bills. I don't know if you noticed when you came on today, you didn't have to watch an ad. You haven't been interrupted. If you're watching replay in the future, which is weird to talk to future audiences because I appreciate the live one too. But today, ad-free from Palm Street. Palm Street is a live selling platform. If that appeals to you and you'd like to check it out, you should. Palmstreet.app is where you can get the app, and the information to apply to sell reptiles is down below. I appreciate Redline shipping more than I can say from a consumer standpoint. Their knowledge, service, there's a phone number you can call for help. Winter and fall temperatures are just around the corner. I checked in Sioux Falls. It's going to be 46 this weekend. It's starting to get a little bit chilly. If you have questions about shipping, how to ship, when to ship, and the supplies to safely ship your reptiles in, Redline is there to help and support you. Use the promo code PROPER5. Get yourself $5 off of your next shipping label. We talk about service and entrepreneurship, shedtesting.com. Charlie's story is phenomenal. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, you should. In the meantime, here's the hot button points that you should know about Charlie's service. One is that you want to hire Adam to smash things while he's cutting promos for you. The next thing you would want to know is that he's just lowered prices. You can get a 10-panel test now for $85, and the results will be delivered to you in under 5 business days. And his new process has far less human interaction. So scientifically, it's probably even safer than it was before. So better, faster, and cheaper than before. This is a pretty good combination. Use the promo code PROPER10. You're going to get yourself 10% off of 2 shed test orders. You can order as many tests as you want per order, and then 2 orders. You get 10% off. So great price to start with and coming down. Reagan, Renee, Royal Pythons. That's Charlie. That's a different Charlie. That's Charlie Ryan at Reagan, Renee, Royal Pythons out in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Check out Charlie's Instagram. He just put up a new reel. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, kind of talking about getting back to the why. What makes you, why are you doing this? What makes you passionate about what you're doing? And his insights and analytics are just second to none in the industry, in my opinion. He is specializing in, I should have this stuff memorized, Kryptons, DG, G-Stripe, Candy, Pied, Clowns, single, double, and triple ingredients. He's also the current reigning and undefeated 15 Minutes of Lame champion from Chris Eaton at the Fat Man Nation. Portuguese Pythons is Danny and Renee Rocha. I love working with them. They're fantastic people. And actually, I got to give them a call. We're coming up on our 3rd year working together, and they've been there the whole time consistently, which is amazing. My favorite projects that they work are their Ultramel projects. Their Ultramel animals are phenomenal. They do both dark gene combos with them that are really great, pull out the purples and the oranges, but then they're doing stuff with like Bell complex genes, which just turn Ultramels just neon. Double recessives, they're working with Ultramels, Ultramel Puzzle, Ultramel Clown, Ultramel Pied. They're also working projects like Sunset Hypo, some pretty high-end, nice long-term stuff for sure. Check out their Morph Market for their current inventory. And like I say, personal vouch. They're just phenomenal people, and they've been great to do business with. Similarly is Josh and Sarah at SunDog Serpents. I used to vend with them at Repticon shows at fairgrounds in Florida. That's where I got my my business really kind of took off. And I've been doing business with Sarah and Josh for, it would have to be 4 years now, maybe. It's not quite 5 yet. I wasn't in Florida 5 years ago at that time, but 4 years. I've bought animals from them. I've sold animals to them. They are doing some banger stuff. They're TSK Clowns. If you look on their Instagram, they just hatched another clutch of TSK's Anthic Clowns. Not too many people doing that. Their Super Asphalt stuff is a really killer. They've got puzzle stuff as well. And they do have some blood pythons also. I don't know if they still have them in stock or not, but keep an eye on these two. They're doing really, really cool stuff. And I have to say, like they're at the point now where I'm a little jealous, like maybe they were onto a few things along the way that I didn't catch up on. So very cool. Check out SunDog Serpents. That is Sarah and Josh. Last but not least is Chris at B and S Reptilia. He will be vending with me at Tinley. He is my vending partner in October. We own a couple animals together, and he is the original advertising sponsor on Proper Royal. So a little bit biased toward the guy, but he's pretty good people. He is Reptilia because he not only specializes in ball pythons, but blood pythons, locality boas, colubrids of all shapes and sizes, Pituophis, that's the bull and the pine snakes. He will have those at Tinley, and he'll have the knowledge, the education, and if you need legal certificates or paperwork, he'll have that information as well as the documentation that you need if you want to take any of those species home to wherever your place of residence is. That's Chris at B and S Reptilia. Come see us all the way back, all the way left. It might be the farthest table at Tinley, but it's the easiest one to find, okay? Hope to see you there. It's going to be a fun time. Come by and say hello. Don't feel obligated. Just come check out the place. Audience, thank you. I could not do it without you. I have to look at November, I think sometime is actually going to be, maybe I should do something special for it. It's going to be, I think November is actually going to be like, no, it'll be the 5-year episode, a 5-year anniversary of my YouTube channel, not of this show. This show's, it'll be like 4.5 years. Next spring sometime will be. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. It's been a very long time, and you all still come here every week is what I'm trying to say. Thank you very, very much. Hanging out with Heart of the Python tonight. That is Kate and Bill Pever out of Massachusetts. We've been talking about kind of show experience. We actually just had a great conversation on nature versus nurture and temperament in snakes. If you're just joining, you should go back and check that out. Great food for thought and really some good business insight there. I am now going to learn about their entrepreneurial business life outside of ball pythons. And I think what I really want to know, what I love and kind of the hook of why I invited them to be on the show was if somebody is successful running their own business, I can learn something from them to apply to my own business as I attempt to become successful running my own business. So why don't you, Kate or Bill, will you tell us, give us a little introduction about what you do outside of ball pythons?
Well, we run and own a grooming salon in a small town called Marblehead in Massachusetts.
Birthplace of the American Navy.
Yes, birthplace.
Cool. Okay.
Very prestigious, though. I've been grooming dogs for this year will be year 20. And I've been grooming dogs for 20 years. We've opened All Paws on Deck. That's the name of the grooming salon.
Okay.
7 years ago this September. I have 8 staff, including myself. And we groom dogs in a lot of the ways that we approach the same kind of approach that we do for our ball python business. I have the policy that I don't groom dogs, I groom with dogs. So I always find that behavior and temperament and all of that has been really fascinating to me. And I believe that dogs were bred for thousands of years to work alongside us. They were bred to help us herd sheep and, guard our goods and be companions and do all sorts or fight our vermin.
Right.
I believe that grooming is just another job that they can learn to do with us. And going at it with that approach has been really helpful and successful with us because if most dogs like doing a job, they like having a job. Mm-hmm. So they get excited. A lot of them get excited to come to grooming. And I think that makes a big difference. Our goal at our grooming salon is to have every pet drag their owner in. We're not successful. We're not successful with all of them. We can't convince all of them. They think that we're good people, but they're not entirely convinced that the grooming game is the best.
Right.
We do have a lot that do think it's the best game ever. And I think that's probably one of the biggest compliments I can get from a grooming dog is that they just get excited to come.
Right. That would be. Tell me, okay, so I know nothing about the dog grooming business. And now I'm assuming there's more to it than like carving lions' manes into chow dogs for a gimmick. So I assume that I know that there is. But you caught my attention here for a second. How big is the town that this business is in approximately? 30,000, 300,000, 3 million?
It's tiny.
Yeah, it's a small town.
It's a very small New England town. Yeah. I'm not really sure the number was.
But it's
20,000, 50,000, somewhere in there.
I mean, we pull from the surrounding area.
We do, but I mean, this is where Peter Lynch lives. On the neck of Fidelity. These are some people that have a lot of money, a lot of influence.
I see. it struck me. Sorry, when the reason I asked, you said that there's 8 staff. How many animals are you grooming? And I'm like trying to get a vision of. I mean, I own 3 dogs. I admit I've never been to a dog groomer. I feel like maybe I would be a prime candidate. So when you say that you're employing 8 people in a small town, I'm going, I need to learn about this business. This is cool.
And we could employ more, but it's hard to get people into this small town. If they don't live in Salem, Swampscott, or Lynn, which are the surrounding towns, those are the border. We're bordered by water. We're on the ocean. So if we can't get employees who live there, it's hard for us to get employees. We have room for a couple more.
Yeah, we're actually hiring and trying to hire another groomer. But, you know, we don't have them all scheduled, you know, all at the same time. We're all trying to like cram 8 of us in there at the exact same time. We're open 6 days a week, and we're open from 7 to 7 most days.
Wow. How many stations do you have? I envision it's sort of set up maybe like a hair salon model, that there's stations where each person works with the dog.
Similar. We have 5 grooming tables out front and 6 out back.
Okay.
But it's the grooming tables out back are for like a lot more for like drying and nail trimming and other things like that. Whereas we do all of our haircuts out front, and basically you can walk in front of our windows and watch us groom dogs.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a daycare next door, and they spend most of their time doing that.
Yes, the daycare, we get the cute little fingerprints of the look at the puppies.
Actually, I think it's a cool thing. I mean, I know I try my damnedest to tie everything back to restaurants, but open kitchens, there's no purpose to have an open kitchen other than to show off and put on a show and let people like to watch how things are done, you know,
see how clean it is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you want to, yeah, and you are more confident. I think if you eat from an open kitchen where you can see what's going on, you're bound to be more confident and happy in the food. But
that your animals are being treated well. I mean, and the thing about dogs and cats, and we groom both dogs and cats, is that people treat them as part of their family.
Yes.
And,
yes.
You know, I fell in love with ball pythons when I was a teenager, and I was volunteering at the local animal shelter, and they had a ball python that was was dropped off, and none of the other staff wanted to go near it. And so I, as like the 15-year-old volunteer, was tasked with trying to feed this thing. And it was kept in a glass terrarium with no hides and no water. And so I had to do all this research, and I fell in love with this snake. I wasn't able to keep one at the time. But if I could have taken that animal home, I absolutely would have. Right. I had to do all the research to just like to find it, to get a hide, to get it to the proper care, and it eventually did eat. And that feeling was really great, and kind of made me feel good as a teenager. You know, the whole world's against you when you're a teenager.
Right. Yeah. And everything. And even if it's not, you're sure it is. Right.
Even if it's not, you're sure it is. But this animal accepted my help and was able to do it, and was outgoing with me and came up and sat on me while I was cleaning cat cages and things like that. And everybody in everybody else was terrified of it, and I didn't quite understand, but I was able to help a couple people get over it. But I don't understand why why ball pythons can't be part of the family like that. I mean, I understand that they are reptiles, and they definitely they don't have a mammalian brain. They may not fall in love with you, but
they definitely have preferences.
They definitely have preferences. And,
they certainly do. Yeah.
Ball pythons in particular have very specific preferences most of the time.
Yes. Your monarchs will only deal with you.
Now, I think, but I do think some of it too is that people have different anticipated outcomes. So like, say somebody that's very busy working 5-6 days a week, might not have time to take a dog out 5 times a day and then get exercise with the dog. They might be better suited to a ball python, and maybe want a different relationship. That's weird to talk. A different relationship than a member of a family pet. Maybe they're looking for something a little more independent, and maybe that's a better fit, and maybe that's why they have that animal too.
Yeah. But anyway, the dogs are part of their family, and I said I've been doing this for 20 years. I have clients that I'm on, their 3rd dog.
Yeah.
And like I've, watched their kids grow from footy pajamas to college graduate. And, I had a client in the other day that she was just having a bad day, and she was so disheveled, and she just needed a moment. And I said, sweetie, I knew you when you were in footy pajamas. Sit down, take a breath, breathe. It'll be fine. You're going to be okay.
Right.
And because she'd driven there, and it was one of her first times driving, and
oh, cool.
and the dog had gone in the back seat, and she was a little flustered. And so she sat down, and we laughed about the fact that I had known her when she was in footy pajamas, and we talked about her other dog that she'd had, and those things are connections that you can make with people and over animals. And I think a lot of times people, when we get into fields with animals and we get attached to animals, it's easy to forget the human aspect of it too. Working with people.
Right. I mean, you guys brought up a good point earlier, and I had a similar conversation. On the one hand, yes, there's inventory and product, and on the other hand, it is a live animal, and it can be both, and both can be true. And at different times in the business / hobby, there can be more one or the other, but it's important I would say it's important never to lose sight of either. Obviously the live animal aspect has to come first. But I also think it's important that people don't get in over their heads with, saving the world via live animal acquisition, because we've seen what happens with that as well with the hoarding aspect, whether it be snakes or any other animal. Bill, is this your business as well, or do you have another business, or do you have another career?
I've done books. I've had lots of careers. I've done restaurant management. I was a biology high school teacher right out of college.
Oh, cool.
And then I went to law school. So I do special education law. So
wow. Okay.
It's in the school systems.
Yeah. Well, you should have led with that. I mean, that's going to get you followers and customers there. I mean, that's the cool stuff, man. That's it's great work that you both are doing. That's impressive. Okay. So we talk about the customer aspect. You talk about how people see pets as part of their families. Are there any other things from either various careers or entrepreneurship that have influenced your ball python or reptile decisions? I love that this world that we have, everybody's an expert at something else, literally, because we have jobs and careers, and then we come to this. So there's always so much to learn. Like, what have you seen that ties in your worlds?
I mean,
law ties into everything, but
well, I think that you work with the special ed kids, and the change that you've seen in the kids with reptiles has been pretty impressive.
I'm working on an idea of hyper focus with autism, and a lot of that hyper focus, and I've seen it in shows as well, is you'll get a child or an adult who most definitely is on the spectrum and comes up and they want to hold an animal that they stare at, and they'll stay at your table holding this animal for an hour. Right. And it's this hyper focus that they can seem to give to a reptile that sometimes, our cats and our dogs don't have time for. They'll move on. And
wow, that's insightful. I know exactly the person. I know exactly an experience like that. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Fantastic topic, though. It's
something that I'm starting to look a little bit more into. I'm talking to speech and language pathologists that I know. I'm talking to ASD and autism specialists, and talking about coming up with a mapping of how we go about this. How is it actually? How is this hyper focus, which we see so much in reptiles, more so than any other animal, that is different than when we bring a dog or cat into a high school as a calming element? It doesn't work with some of our autistic kids. And would this work better? It's something where, it's definitely in the fringe part of looking at it in the research. So I'm not really ready to talk a lot about it, other than it's it just struck me because we got into this because my daughter is on the spectrum, and she was hyper focused for years. And I don't mind telling you that snakes creep me out. For years they creep me out. I got her snakes for actually.
One of our first pets.
Kevin set us up at Nerds with our first pets before.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And I got them for her. I could not deal with it. And then with my daughter being so hyper focused on reptiles, everything about it, Emily from Snake Discovery, that focus on that. And I said, okay. And I knew that I had to be okay with it because I'd be the one who's going to be taking care of this thing. I know that, we have lots of pets. We have chickens that I got to teach them how to have responsibility, that I go and get the eggs and I clean. So I knew what was coming. And I started to, like this snake. She was so fine, And then one day I came down and she had both snakes in together.
Yeah, she put the snake in the wrong.
No, she mated them on purpose. And
okay.
I went down one day. I couldn't find Missy. Where's Missy? She always comes out because I'm the feeding guy. She knows. And we have these snakes in these giant, 6-foot glass bioactive, enclosures. She sees me come by. She comes out. I'm the feeding guy. She wasn't coming out. I looked in. She's on a clutch of 7 eggs.
Oh, geez.
That was our first clutch.
And that's our first clutch. That I ran out to Home Depot. I got a cooler. I got some fish tank heaters and the fish tank equipment, put it together within a couple of hours, and we got those eggs on. Yeah, I'm so surprised they all hatched.
I was going to say, did they hatch? Like it worked for you?
They were all good. There was one that I had to learn. I called up Bear from Red Onion. It's like, man, it won't eat, man. I don't know how to assist feed. You got to walk me through this. And he's like, oh, come on, you can do this. And he walked me through how to assist feed it. And it's not one of our best eaters. She's just great. And that's when we found out about odium, which we are really excited about. Yeah. These are super odiums, and they are so interesting. I mean, we've got one that's army green on the back with white peach explosions coming up the sides. It's a fascinating animal. So we're excited about going into that. I mean,
we paired Missy with a sunset boy this year, but she reabsorbed on us.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to take the year off. She was a mom last year. She didn't want to be one this year.
So we're playing with odium too, which I'm more excited about than her Monarch projects. But
my Monarch projects. I'm excited about my Monarch project. But we've talked a lot about pets and entrepreneurship. I think entrepreneurship is also about risk tolerance. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Continue on. Keep going. I agree. Yes.
Having already built a business through blood, sweat, tears, and a good couple of water fights between my husband and I.
Remember, we opened the year before COVID hit.
We opened 1 year before COVID. We got 1 year to open, and then COVID hit us.
So there were some hard times.
There were definitely some hard times. And, there were times where we sat there and go, what are we doing? And that fear can be paralyzing in the moment, and just realizing you're in debt, you're in mountains of debt when you start a business. And not all businesses, but when you start a business, you're in debt, and you have to sit there and you go, that's a lot of money that you've got hanging over your head going, how am I ever going to do this? And some people can handle that emotionally, and some couples can handle that emotionally and physically, and some people just can't. And that's not a dig at them or a flaw in it. It's just some people can handle it and some people just don't. And so the idea that a lot of people come in with this instant gratification, we need to get to do it. I knew that that's not how that's going to work because we've already done this. Even with the ball pythons, I have moments where I'm like, what did we do? Oh my God.
Right. Is there something wrong with us here? Yeah.
Did we is this really going to work? And then I just remind myself, I'm like, we've been there, we've done this, and we can do it again.
And when we started, we knew that she really was in love with Monarch, and She liked puzzle, and we knew that to be anywhere in these projects, we had to invest, which means getting beautiful, loaded breeder females, and so we invested
heavily,
which was something that we knew we could do based on what our books were showing us. Like, this was something that we could, if we lost this, we weren't going to tank. We'd be fine.
Well, and I think those decisions are really important. Anybody who's watched my show for a long time, I am a believer in cash flow, and I'm a believer that you can grow at your own pace. However, your expectations in a certain time frame are going to be affected as well, much like I'm sure that your achievements are probably advanced beyond, how do we put it? You're probably making higher dollar morphs faster than I'm going to make them. However, you also have a heavy investment hanging there that is, because even if you have the money, I always see an investment as a debt to yourself. Absolutely. Unless if it's a hobby, you don't expect to get it back. If it's a business, you want to pay yourself back eventually one day. So there's always that trade-off. But I think it's a really important conversation because everybody has different resources and different experiences. I talked with Will and Audra at Flawless one time, and they had already started a business and been successful in another business. When you've done it and you know how to do it and you know what to expect, you can apply those lessons to it. If you're figuring it out, it might not be good to spend 6 figures on ball pythons. Get a little business experience as well as ball python experience is what I would tell people. And I say that because that's what I had to do. You talked earlier about not everybody's cut out for sort of that stress and the things that come with owning a business. And I didn't interject at the moment, but my thought at the time was, the value proposition of I've got some expertise and I've got some time. Why don't I give you my time and expertise and you give me money? That's a pretty good value proposition in a modern era kind of thing. We don't have to be plowing fields and banging, all this stuff that we might have had to do 250 years ago. So jobs are good. I'm never knocking somebody for having a job when I talk about entrepreneurship, but it does excite me as an entrepreneur, and that risk tolerance is, it's hard. Yeah. There's days I stand in front of my car wash and go, how did I get, what is that Talking Heads song? Where it's like, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? What am I doing? I mean, there are days where I'm like, I'm in Minnesota and I own a car wash. What?
People don't talk about that. They don't talk about the fact that, like, people who own small businesses, there are days that you just, there are days that you sit there and you go, what did I do? And what did I do? Is this the right
get a day off?
And you never get a day off. There's no such thing. And people that haven't done it, joke, oh, well, you get to make your own hours. No, we make all the hours.
Yeah, all the hours, right?
All the hours are the hours we make. And there's a certain amount of freedom to that and independence to that and control over your own life with that, which is freeing in a way. But also, I also have, 8 other people that are depending on me to run my business successfully.
Right. Yeah. They look to you for certainty in life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I take that as a responsibility as well. Is like, I don't want my employees to be, worried about where their next meal is coming from. I feel like if I'm providing a job for you, it should be providing a job that you can live with.
Right.
And that's just part of my value with it is when I was like, okay, we're going to hire somebody. I was like, okay, are we going to be able to pay them a wage that makes sense?
Yeah.
It's important.
It is important. And I think it's one of the things I struggled with the most getting through COVID in a restaurant. As much as I wanted to quit during COVID, I said, there's too many people. I suppose I could walk away and be okay, but my team, who knows who's going to take over that team. And it was a very important thing to me to get through the craziest time and maybe all of it. But I mean, it was very important to me not to abandon that team because the flip side is they're the people that provide your livelihood as well, I'm guessing. So that for me, that was the case as well. when you started your pet grooming business, and maybe to this day, what is your sort of customer acquisition strategy? I'm not necessarily interested in the dollars. Oh, I spend this much and it costs me this much to acquire a customer, blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about that Shark Tank stuff. I'm talking about, how do you get people in the door? Once they're in the door, you can figure out how to make ends meet. What's that? All word of mouth. Congratulations. Wow.
You know, we are one of my groomers likes to post on Instagram. So I gave her the keys to the Instagram. I'm like, here, go ahead, have fun.
I think empowering your associates is a great thing.
She takes pictures of the animals and puts them up on Instagram, but that's more recent. You know, I had already been doing this, like I said, for a while. I've, been grooming for about 20 years, and I started 7 years ago. So I'd already been grooming for quite a while before I started my own business. I was, humbled to see that a lot of my clients decided to follow me to where to my own business. And
cool. She's being very humble. She worked at a corporate. I said corporate, I didn't say where. With 8 other employees, and she was doing a third of the dogs. And we did not tell them where we were going. She said she was going somewhere else, and we started getting calls, and they had found us, and a third of the clientele left pet. I didn't say one of the companies, and started calling us. We opened up 2 weeks early.
The paint was barely dry.
To
start off, so we were fortunate to do that, but that was all her.
Yeah, and you already. So that's having your own brand. That's the power of a brand right there. That is the demonstration and the definition, in my opinion, of that. For somebody who has no earthly idea, as I've admitted before, so first, what does a grooming session entail? Typical, I'm sure there's a range of services. And then what would like a typical customer spend be? And again, I know there's a range of services, but if you can boil it down to something really simple a caveman can understand.
Well, our basic services include a bath, brush out, nail clipping, ear cleaning, and if the dog requires a haircut, or a de-shed, depending on if the dog sheds. We tailor our services to the dog based on what the skin and coat need. I am a certified canine esthetician, which just means I just took extra classes to be nerdy about dog skin and coat.
Don't sell yourself short. It's a measurable expertise. Yeah.
So our products are designed to benefit that particular dog. Again, trying to customize it for them. And I think we just recently did our numbers. Our average price per dog was like what, 116?
118. Yeah.
118.
118.
That's average price per dog. So some less, some are more.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But that's what I was kind of trying to get down to. 118. Now, is that like Massachusetts pricing? Is that is that pretty standard? Or can you speak to that? Do you know? There's got to be some standard. If I move there from somewhere else, is that going to be a sticker shock for me?
We took everyone to Hershey, and we met 2 years ago, and we met with a lot of other owners from across the country. And some of them, own 12 salons, and different states have completely. Some people are paying their employees $10 an hour. And Massachusetts, our minimum wage is like 15, but 15. We have to pay a lot more than that because Starbucks is paying a lot more than that, and we're asking our employees to do a lot more than a barista does. And
I was going to say, to me, there's always the give a damn price. Like, you got to pay people enough to care and want to be there to be the best, right? Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to balance on books, though.
And we do 3 weeks, paid time off.
Really good for you. Nice work.
So that all gets reflected in the price.
Yeah.
But I know that, like in Ohio, the prices are definitely, I would say, a third less than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely different per area, but I would say that for most of the grooming in New England, at least, we're about average for our area, for the New England area.
Yeah, and even 30% less, you're still flirting with $80 a customer.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think that's what Scott and Jordan were telling us.
Yeah, they were saying
so that's St. Louis.
Yeah, they were saying.
Okay. I'm fascinated, and I have this weird itch now that I own a commercial building where I'm always like, am I doing the right thing, or I'm not going to be the dog groomer, but maybe there's somebody that is a dog groomer that needs a convertible space.
That is also part of the reason why we can charge a little bit more than maybe somebody who doesn't. Is I am a dog groomer. I have been a dog groomer, and as a dog groomer who owns a business, I know how to make other dog groomers happy, I guess would be the right way to put it.
We try.
We can't make everybody happy all the time, but so in our salon, I think we did the calculations once, and it was like we have like between all of us, we have like over 75 years of experience.
Yeah.
Within the between the groomers who've been doing it 5, 10, 20, 15 years.
Sure.
That I have, and that takes to acquire that kind of talent. It takes money, and it takes a positive work environment.
Mm-hmm. And that's different than, let's say, a corporate company that has people who have been grooming for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming, I would say in a kitchen it shows in the results. I mean, that's it. And look, I'll be the first to say there's a market for everything. There's Hyundai is in business and Lamborghini's in business, and there's clients at every level that have different expectations. But generally, if the market kind of finds the price too, like if you were overcharging and under delivering, you'd be out of business. Oh, so the market's going to force you to get where you need to be, or it's going to kick you out. So
we have customers who say, well, this is too much for us now. You've just got to put your prices. They go and then they come back within 6 weeks and say, oh my God, can you fix this?
Yeah. And I hate to say it, I find it with my ASF pricing. I'm not the cheapest guy in town, but if I tell you I can take care of you reliably and with good animals, and I do have people, they go, well, I found it cheaper here. And I go, it doesn't make sense for me to change those prices. And almost inevitably, I hear from them sooner or later, hey, Adam, do you have any ASF inside? Yeah, okay, I do. It's good to hear from you. Come on back, Yeah. Great points. I know that we listed on the thumbnail the Monarch gene. We didn't even really get there. We got a little time. Not going to be a hard wall here. So, Kate, what I sense all along the way that the Monarch is Kate's baby here. Give me the elevator pitch. Why Monarch? Where are you going with it? And what are you going to do the it's better than Ultramel thing? Well, you're not. Okay.
I could. But
okay, all right.
No, we have a couple of Ultramels too.
I've joked to breed the Ultramel and the Monarch together.
No, you aren't. Somebody's done it. I've seen it. It's an interesting looking animal. But when I was doing my research, because like I told you in the very beginning, I'm a research buff. I like to nerd out, and when I don't know something, I try and do as much research as I could, and I found all the genes, you got clown, you got puzzle, you got, all of them. And I really fell in love with the color palette and the contrast of Monarch. But I came up with an animal that I want to make one day, and Monarch was part of it. And
do you share that, or do you see that as proprietary? Like that's your private goal?
No, I know that there are going to be other people who probably will get to it before I will. But my long-term goal animal is a Monarch sunset puzzle. Okay,
cool. Yeah. That'll be a nice animal. Yes. All right.
With sugar.
Okay. Oh, okay. Blowing it up with the little white on the bottom coming up there.
That was later added because we have a sugar.
She's gorgeous.
Sugar Monarch who is just absolutely stunning. And I wish I had 10 more of her. But as I started, that was the goal animal. I was like, okay, this is what I want to make. And so I started acquiring the pieces. I started seeing more genes with Monarch and more genes with Sunset and more genes with Puzzle, and just really liking how Monarch doesn't only affect color and contrast, but also pattern. It does have a fairly strong pattern influence. And I just think that there's a lot more to be done with it. It's an open, there's so many people who's doing so many amazing combos. Like recently, Reptiles made a Mandarin hurricane monarch that is just killer. It is a really cool animal.
They teased us at Siri about it.
Yeah, they did. They teased us at Siri.
They had it in the oven then.
Yeah. And,
actually, I had Canadian Regis up at Toronto had some hurricane monarch combos that were actually, I made a reel of and posted that. Fantastic, excellent animals.
Yeah, we have actually have a clutch with some available that have a hurricane and monarch, or that are hurricane het monarch.
Barnhart Black
Pastel, and
nice.
The split gene, which is cool.
Not familiar.
It's been kind of it's tagged along with hurricane, and a lot of some of the really high expression hurricanes also have this gene kind of tagging along with it.
That's why they're high expression.
We have a very beautiful Barnhart line Black Pastel hurricane girl that is just that's all she is, but she's stunning. And when I saw her, I had to have her, and we put her to our monarch male, and I can't wait we got a little mini her that's het monarch. That was
exactly all she wanted.
That's all I wanted.
That's everything, right? That's the one.
That's the one. So that's all I wanted. Next year we'll probably put her to one of your rainbow boys, and we're excited about those projects. You know, I don't know.
What was that?
That was Scott from Genetic Genesis binging in saying, "Wait a minute, you guys have that?"
Oh, I was like, "Is that an Amber Alert? What's happening here?" Holy cow! Are you safe right now?
We didn't turn off the Apple notifications. I didn't realize what it is.
That's also my guitar solo face. That's when you know I'm really you know, the worse face to make, the better the note is that you're hitting.
My concentration face has been known to scare people.
Scare dogs.
We're gonna make a short of that. That'll be on the reels tomorrow, folks.
Sounds good.
Matter of fact, whoever can do it best, have a field day with it. That'll be a fun one.
So that project was that end goal animal was definitely what got me into looking more into it. And the more I see with the Monarch project, the more I want to make.
Nice. And then for my own fun, tell me your vision, your goal, why you and I have a gene project in common, which is Rainbow. What gets you going about Rainbow? Why invest in it? And where are you excited for that?
Rainbow's. I mean, I got excited about Rainbow too, but Rainbow's his passion project.
I got first it was lavender. You know, I love lavender. I love it, and I wanted to get sort of involved in the snake business with her. With something that I like, and I like bright colors. I mean, I want to put orange and yellows and everything.
Who needs nuance, right? Guys don't need nuance. We want to get punched in the face with the combo, right?
Exactly. And I fell in love with that, and then I fell in love with Real NR Mandarin, the Fawny line, and I was lucky enough to acquire some of that. And then Kate showed me what Rainbow does, and said it's still wide open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lavender's sort of in fun to make, and they're beautiful.
We have some, we'll make some.
And we definitely I love them, but this is a different direction that is kind of open to do stuff with.
Play with.
Yeah, and I was really excited about that, and so starting to look at Rainbow and Rainbow with Sunset and Rainbow with Mandarin, and see where that road takes me.
Mm-hmm.
But I want it to be bright, beautiful, and explosive. I mean, that's what makes me happy.
And you like banana too. Like you really, you and the kids really fell in love with banana. And I think,
yep, banana calico pieds are their current obsession.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Emma really wants to make the obsidian pied now, which is the what is it? Blackhead Suma pied. So
Blackhead Suma. Yeah,
and got the ingredients for them to make some panda pieds. They're having some fun.
That's cool. That's cool on the family aspect of it. Where can people see you next? Where are you off to next?
Let's see. I'm going to be in Tennessee. I'll be at Nashville. So in mid-October, for the All-American.
Very cool.
And St. Louis.
We'll be going to Tinley.
We'll be stopping by Tinley. Hi, how you guys doing?
We're not going to Vend. We didn't get into Vend there, but
but you're coming to hang out.
Yeah, we're coming to hang out.
And then
this time I'm going to recognize you, and we're going to hang out.
say.
And then we'll be I think that will end the year. We'll start the year up again with Bob Vu down in Atlanta again.
Very cool.
Southeast.
Very nice. Have you done one of the AARP shows yet? Or is Nashville be the first?
Nashville? Oh no, I did Virginia.
Oh, cool. How was it there? Fredericksburg?
Troy did Fredericksburg this year. It was again, there was passion. So was it a different crowd than Atlanta was? It's absolutely different crowd. But passionate crowd.
Yeah.
I can tell you some stories later. There's some very interesting people that talked my ear off for hours. But it was some of the most fun conversations I've ever had.
That's cool.
I was by myself. I had to work the table
solo show
without any help, and I couldn't leave. Like Tyler had to come see me. All of a sudden I saw this big redhead flash give me a big bear hug, and I was like, "Oh, Tyler, you're here! I didn't even know."
You're like, "Watch the booth. I got to go to the bathroom."
Yeah, exactly.
It's always my thing. I'm like, "It's great to see you. Here's the keys. I'll be back, man." I always vend alone, so except actually with Chris. But yeah, I know that feeling when you're just like, "Okay, who's going to bail me out here real quick?"
And we did okay. We did okay there. I think there's definitely some growth, and Troy does a really good job. So I think that we'll be back next year, definitely.
I think their shows are fantastic, and they're an innovation, bringing in the plant community who will spend money too on. I mean, my goodness, if I think people spend crazy money on ball pythons, they spend some money on plants. It's pretty cool to see.
There were some gorgeous pitcher plants there. Beautiful.
Well, and I think we'll have more of the heartline animals available by then too. So that'll be for more animal people looking for like those quality pets that have been conditioned for that. So we'll have more of those available for those shows. We didn't really have that for the first couple of shows that we had too. So
gotcha. And then what, the usual suspects, Instagram, Morph Market, can get a hold of you also?
Yep.
We're working on the website, but
we haven't gotten that yet. And we have got to get up the guts to be more active on YouTube, or you've got to get up the guts to be more active on YouTube.
Guts. It's more, I've got all the equipment. It's all set up. What's the first idea?
Yeah.
If
only there were more reptile podcasts out there, like more, you could do some.
I know. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to do something that's already out there. If I have an idea to put out there, that's what I'd want to do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I think you guys, for my own 2 cents, I for whatever reason, people sharing their experience, or I know people laugh at the word journey, but whatever you're going through really resonates with people, and that's unique enough. There's an appetite for every flavor of that, and your own story is uniquely yours. So you can start there. There you go, unsolicited advice that you can do anything you want with.
You have to venture out onto Palm Street.
Yep.
We have to do
Check them out. Check them out.
We're approved.
We're approved.
We're approved.
Cool.
Congratulations. I've been a little worried that we don't have the inventory to sell on there quite yet. But probably going on there and showing off some of the heartline animals.
Well, that was what I was talking to someone about. Just going off and doing a show, not necessarily selling anything. Just show them what you have. It's a fantastic platform.
Yeah.
You could build your brand in many ways, and I'll leave it at this, but what I'll say is you wouldn't, and not you all personally, anybody I don't think would invest the time, the care in a show display and have their first show not be that great and go, that's it, I'm out. This sucks. No, it's nothing is handed to you. And you talked a little bit about patience and stress and pain tolerance earlier. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. If it were easy, we'd all be Palm Street millionaires. It's going to take a little while, and it's a new platform for our community as well. But it's a powerful platform. It is well-funded, and very well-funded, and well proven as well. And the potential audience there is so massive. I think it's a great thing that you're doing with this separately named kind of line. Like it really is. Like I like guitars. Like Fender and Gibson both have their entry guitar, like they're attainable, non-long-term investment guitars for the everyday player. That's a fantastic mentality, and that's exactly the audience that you're going to do well with. So I could talk all evening, and I got to have you guys back. This was fun. Thank you very, very much for this. Hang out in the green room for just a moment, okay? Cool. Audience, same place, same time next week. We'll keep it going, barring any unforeseen tragedies, which I don't intend to have. So I'll see you then. That got dark, didn't it? I will be here next week. Let's just leave it there. Thank you all. Go follow Heart of Python, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.